Hello students, this is grade 4 science, lesson number 6, and the lesson topic is ice sculptures. The ice sculptures. So let's proceed. So the first question to answer is, what is an ice? So an ice is a solid water. It's water which is in solid form. So that one is an ice. In other words, an ice is also water that has been cooled to 0 degrees or below. So if you take a thermometer and you want to measure the temperature of the ice, you find that its temperature can either be 0 degrees or below 0 degrees. So ice is water that has been cooled to 0 degrees or below. At this temperature, which temperature are we talking about? 0 degrees or below. That temperature is called freezing point. So at this temperature, which is 0 degrees or below, the water freezes and changes from a liquid to a solid. The temperature at which the water freezes is called freezing point, and that's where water changes from liquid to solid. As the water cools, it becomes a solid, and we say that the liquid solidifies. What it means is the water freezes and changes from liquid to solid. It is changing from a liquid form to a solid form. As it is doing that, it means it is solidifying. So the water that has been frozen is said to be solidified. It's like the liquid water is changing to a solid, forming a solid. That's solidification, and the process is reversible. The process is reversible. Why is it reversible? It's because when you increase the temperature, you see the ice turning back to a liquid. You have liquid water that side, and the other side you have solid water. So if the temperature is reduced, you see the liquid water turning into a solid. And if you heat the ice will melt and form a liquid. That's why we say the process is reversible, or that is a reversible change. Let's talk about melting ice. Ice is water that has been frozen. I have already talked about that. And it has changed from a liquid to a solid, right? So what we have to do here is to change this solid back to a liquid. So how? We have to supply heat. We have to heat the ice. If you heat the ice will melt, and it will become what? A liquid. So that process is called melting. And the temperature at which the solid water, which is ice, is melting is called melting point. So the melting point of ice is the same as the freezing point of ice. The melting point of solid water is the same as the freezing point of solid water, which is 0 degrees. So the sentence says, if we heat ice, it will change from a solid to a liquid, and this is melting. And ice melts when the temperature is above 0 degrees. From 0 going above, ice melt. Finally, do all solids melt at the same time? Remember, in this topic we are not talking only about ice, but talking about all solids. Solid materials do melt, but do they melt at the same time? Do they melt at the same temperature? The answer is no. Solids melt at different times. Why do they melt at different times? It's because they have different temperatures, or they melt at different temperatures. Each and every solid has got its own melting point or freezing point. For example, ice, its melting point is 0 degrees, and if we take seawater and ice from seawater, its melting point will not be 0 degrees. It will be less than 0, because the seawater has some salts, and that will reduce the temperature to be less than 0 degrees. So other substances, you can also check their melting point. For example, you can if you can have a thermometer, you can take a juice and keep that in a refrigerator until it turns into a solid, and thereafter you can measure the temperature of that ice, of that solid substance. So reaching at this far, let's talk about reversible and irreversible change, but that will be in our next lesson. Thank you.